Sorry for the longer video this week. Apparently I had a lot to say, and it's all about how I got here, and I really hope you stay tuned and watch it. Hello everybody, I'm Sarah, and this is Sarah's Fit Mess. This is my weight loss channel where I document and record my weight loss journey. If you are new here, thank you for stopping by. I hope you subscribe. That way you can catch everything that I'm going through. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you for coming back. I really do appreciate the support. It's a big part of this entire journey for me. Without much further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get right into my weigh-in. I am on week 6. I'm going to go straight into my weigh-in. So I had a loss, which makes me happy. Any loss is a win in my book, and I actually lost the right amount that I'd like to lose, about 2 pounds a week. Makes me happy. It's a nice sustainable loss, and it's something that I can keep trying at. What did this past week look like? I continued to do squats at a maintenance level, 3 days on, 1 day off. And I did about 50 a day, which is not as much as I was doing before, but it's still keeping me moving and keeping me going. As far as any other exercise type thing that I've done, I've decided on what I'm going to do for my next 30-day challenge. I'm going to do the 30-day push-up challenge. I'm going to actually go through this challenge twice. I'm going to go through it the first time with a modified push-up because I can't do that many push-ups without modifying them. So I'm going to do the challenge one time through modified, and then I'm going to go through and do it again without the modification and just do a full-on push-up throughout the entire challenge, which will be fun when I get there, but that's when I get there. As far as calories are concerned, I stayed under the entire week. On average, I ended up at 1303 for the week, which puts me at almost 200 under each day. Probably not going to have most weeks like that. That's a little bit more than I'm used to. And we'll see how I do next week. I'm just planning on keeping at that 15. As far as next week's concerned, I'm starting my new challenge tomorrow. I'm going to continue on with the 1500. But I did want to address something. I had a subscriber talk to me about how they wanted to know a little bit more about me. So I wanted to tell you how I got to my highest weight. And I'm going to tell you this kind of by age because that's the easiest way to go through it. It's been a long journey to get that heavy in a lot of ways. I started out as kind of a chubby kid. My mom tells me I wasn't, but that's what I remember. That's what I was teased about. That's what I was told my whole life. I don't know whether my mom is just being a mom and being comforting, or if I really wasn't that big and I just had a lot of mean peers. Both are very possible. Fast forward through my childhood to age 12. I finally grew into my weight. I was a proper height weight. I remember being excited that I fit in and I was like my peers physically. And I started joining sports and started doing a lot of things to keep myself physically fit. And then one day I suffered an injury. Now, at the time, I didn't know what happened. I just knew that I hurt my hip, and I hurt my hip horribly, and it lasted a long time. I would come home from school just in tears. I was in so much pain. And my mom, of course, took me to the doctor and tried to take care of me, and the doctors didn't know what was going on. They took x-rays, they did a full examination, they did everything they could, but nothing showed up. So I dropped sports. I dropped being physical. I stopped caring about what I looked like. My life was involved and revolved around my hip pain. Now, for the next 3 years, this went on. Just horrible pain, comfort eating, trying to make myself feel better in any way, and just laying on the couch as much as possible. So, of course, I gained weight. I gained a lot of weight. Like I said, fast forward 3 years, I'm 15 years old, and my poor pediatrician who'd heard about my hip pain for years, knew there was something wrong. He believed me when I told him there was something wrong, and bless Bob Lefbro, he changed my life. He sent me to a facility with a brand new x-ray machine and decided to have new imaging done of my hip. And lo and behold, there was a huge fracture. When I was 12 years old, I actually broke my hip, but because of my age and the fact that it was on my pelvic bone as a female, it didn't show up. The hip bone was still developing. Now, over those 3 years, I continued to refracture it and malform the joint because I kept using it. I actually had to have reconstructive surgery. That took me out for a long time. I had the surgery when I was 15 years old, and it took 3 months before I was allowed to walk again. So I didn't do a lot of moving, and for the next year or so, I didn't do a lot of moving. The pain was still immense, even though it was better than it was before. I actually have a nice big scar, 6 screws. Amazing surgery, changed my life. About a year later, I was diagnosed with something else. I was actually diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Now you might ask, how does that associate with weight? Well, when you're an emotional eater like I am, and the way I've been my whole life, when your emotions are all over the place, you're eating all over the place. I kept turning to food, whether I was in a really big high and manic and running around, or if I was in a really big low and just so depressed I needed something to comfort myself. I did a lot of unhealthy things, and I did a lot of eating. So I continued to gain weight as I was trying to go through and find proper treatment for my bipolar disorder. That was about age 16 when I was still healing from my hip and newly diagnosed bipolar. I struggled with that, and I still struggle with bipolar disorder for years. It wasn't until age 15 that we discovered something new about my hip. Exciting. I had actually gained a height discrepancy after my hip surgery. And those 3 years from my surgery until I was 18, I still had a lot of hip pain. Nowhere near as bad as it was before, but still a lot of pain. So I went back to the doctor, and they found out that I was half an inch shorter on one leg. And they promptly ran through and, we started doing different things to fix that. Just mostly shoe lifts and stuff like that. But it wasn't until I was about 18 that I finally started getting to walk with less pain. So from 12 until 18 was hell to walk. And something else fun and exciting happened when I was 18. I had a new form of health problems. I was actually diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome at age 18. And a lot of women go through this, and it causes a lot of problems through a lot of different ways, but one of them does affect your weight. It not only causes you to gain more weight, but it makes it a lot more difficult to lose weight. There's a lot of emotional baggage associated with it for me as well, which caused me to continue to eat. I continued to gain weight. I went through more emotional ups and downs trying to get my bipolar disorder in order. I finally found a medication that worked with my bipolar disorder. Only problem is it was Depakote. And anybody that has bipolar disorder knows this medication. It's a very popular medication for bipolar, besides lithium. And Depakote has a side effect of, you guessed it, weight gain. And I continued to gain tons of weight on this medication. So, continual growth, still getting bigger. On Depakote, it wasn't until a few years later, now I'm in my mid-20s now, I found a medication that worked better and didn't have the side effect of weight gain. Hit this point and I started being more active again. I wanted to get moving. I wanted to lose weight. Throughout my entire story, throughout all of this, I've yo-yo dieted on everything. I gained weight, I crash dieted, I fat dieted, I went to the gym, I did something, and then it failed and I gained more weight. So this is just me crawling up that scale of weight. Well, I joined roller derby. Really fun sport, amazing girls, great support. Loved it. Shortly into skating, I had an accident. happens in Derby. I checked a girl, she ate it, and kicked my skate out from underneath me. And I went from a full standing position to crashing down on one knee. And even though I was wearing knee pads, I managed to tear the ligaments in my knee. Now, I didn't tear them so severely that I had to have surgery, but I did tear them just enough that it limited my mobility and I couldn't skate. And it was a very long time before I could put my skates back on, let alone walk comfortably. I had to wear a brace and a lot of support, and I went to physical therapy, and it was hell. So obviously I stopped moving as much, and the weight that I lost when I joined Derby all came back. I just continued to gain weight. I was still comfort eating. I was still not focusing on my health. I wasn't focusing on anything except for feeling better. My hip, help myself. I've gone through a lot of different things. I still live in chronic pain with my hip. It's just something that I'll live with for the rest of my life. It is nowhere near as bad as it was, but it's still there and it's still very present. I can handle it at this point. It's not like it was before. I can actually make it through my days and not be a complete blubbering mess. Go back 3 years ago. 26. Oh God, I'm old. 26 years old. I was working unloading trucks. And I had a brand new injury, because I'm really good at doing this stuff to myself. I was unloading a crib from a truck, and when I went to go put it down, I wrenched my shoulder wrong, and I managed to tear my rotator cuff. I've gone through various physical therapy. I didn't have to have surgery, thank goodness. I'd really like to avoid surgery. That stopped me from getting back into skating, because last thing I wanted to do was fall, which you happen to do in Derby. It's unavoidable. But I didn't want to fall and mess my shoulder up even more and have to have surgery. So I put skating on a hiatus. These past 3 years have been about the same. I finally have my bipolar disorder as controlled as I can. I'm on a new medication that works well for me. My hip is as well as it can be. My knee and my shoulder are on the mend. I mean, every once in a while they get a little sore, but the physical therapy helped a lot. It helped me gain a lot of strength back and mobility. Something happened in my life that made me want to start focusing on weight loss. And that's my nephew. I don't plan on having kids myself, and it would be a difficult thing for me to do anyways. I saw my nephew as this blessing. I wanted to be around for him, and I wanted to be a big part of his life, and I wanted to be there. And I realized at the rate I was going with my health and my weight crawling higher and higher, if I kept that up, I wouldn't be there for him. I have a family history of diabetes and heart disease. And at 368 pounds, I was testing those limits. I managed to escape this long without those problems. I didn't want to test those limits anymore. And I finally stopped and focused in on what was important in the long run, and that's my own health. I went to a nutritionalist and got some advice, which I've seen nutritionalists my whole life, trying to get my weight under control. Maybe it's the way she talked to me, maybe it was because I knew I wanted to make a change in my life. I don't know what exactly it was that made a difference, but I finally focused in and started taking control of my calories, started taking control of what I ate, and now I'm starting to take control of my physical body as well. And I'm finally at the point where I'm losing weight. I spent my life riddled with injuries and illness. That's not an excuse. A lot of people go through the stuff that I've been through and manage to never gain weight. I handled it with food, and I'm starting to learn a better way to handle myself. A healthier way. And now I'm starting this journey. That's how I got here. Now I'm trying to find my way out. And I'm welcoming you to join me. You now know how I got this far, but if you subscribe and stay tuned, you can find out how far I'll go. I'm determined to make a difference this time. I want to change my habits. I want to change learned ideas about food and make myself a healthier person. I want to be there for my family, for my nephew, for the new one on its way. I want to be there for my family. I want to not only be there, but I want to be able to run and keep up with people. I want to be able to go back and skate again. I want to skate again so bad. I want to do things that require being healthier. This is how I'm doing it. This is how I'm starting. You're welcome to join me. Just click that subscribe button. Watch me, support me, join me. We can do this together. Just communicate with me. Add a comment. Tell me what you're going through. I'll go and I'll check you out, and I can be there for you as well. And if you're on MyFitnessPal, you can follow me on there. And if you're on Instagram, I suck at Instagram, but I'm on there and I try to keep up with it. Just follow me everywhere. I'll follow you. We can do this together, and we can continue to lose weight. We can do this, and it all has to do with a change of perspective and a new determination, and we'll get there. So as a wrap up, I started my journey back in January of 2016 at 368 pounds. Last week I weighed in for you at an even 308. And this week I managed to get down to 306. So that means from last week to this week I lost 2 pounds. And I've lost 62 pounds overall. I'm in the right direction. I'm on the right way. Until next week, I wish you luck in all your endeavors. Thank you for watching.